Thank you, Mr. Rice. Congresswoman Black, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for asking me to testify here today. By circumventing our nation's laws, the Obama administration has ignored constitutional duties and completely discredited itself, losing goodwill along the way with members of Congress. While this administration's lawlessness has been most widely noticed with President Obama's implementation of Obamacare, it applies to areas far beyond health care. For instance, in February of 2012, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement appointed a so-called public advocate to act as a lobbyist for illegal and criminal aliens within the agency. This lobbyist disrupted detention procedures and undermined the hardworking men and women who have dedicated their careers to securing our borders and protecting the American people. In fact, Chris Crane, the president of the National ICE Council, the ICE Employees Union, called this position, and I quote, "nothing but waste, fraud, and abuse." In response to this outrageous appointment, I introduced an amendment, H.R. 5855, the Department of Homeland Security Appropriation Act of 2013, to defund this position. This amendment passed the House of Representatives by a voice vote, and the same language was included in H.R. 933, the continuing resolution that was signed into law by President Obama on March 26, 2013. The clause read, and I quote, "None of the funds made available by this act may be used to provide funding for the position of the public advocate with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement," close quote. After we thought that the matter had been taken care of by an act of Congress approved by the President, last August, thanks to information obtained by the watchdog group Judicial Watch, we learned that the most transparent administration in history had quietly changed the title of the position to avoid complying with the very law that the President had signed. The administration changed the title of Public Advocate to Deputy Assistant Director of Custody Programs and Community Outreach. It was a change in name only. The administration kept the very same person in the position and made no change to the job itself. This kind of outrageous shell game is a perfect example of this pen and phone president circumventing the will of Congress to force its own agenda, and is exactly why the American people cannot trust this administration. Despite the House and the Senate passing language to fund this position and stop this waste of precious taxpayer dollars, this administration and its ICE officials blatantly skirted the law and allowed the agency's employees to continue their activities as though nothing had changed. ICE records indicated that for exactly 1 week, the public advocate Andrew Lorenzo Strait served as a management and programs analyst, only to be given yet another job title on April 1. And since that date, he has served as the Deputy Assistant Director for Customs Programs and Community Outreach. This program did not exist prior to March the 26th of 2013. And since its creation, has housed a number of programs and staff members who previously operated within the Office of Public Advocate. When the reports of this shameless maneuvering began to surface, my office immediately began seeking an explanation from ICE, only to be repeatedly stonewalled. And on September the 23rd of 2013, after a month of constant requests for information, sometimes including several calls a day, yet given no clear answers for this behavior, I sent a formal letter to the then acting director, John Segweg, requesting information about ICE's action following the enactment of H.R. 933. On December the 12th of 2013, following the months of evasion and failure to respond by ICE, I introduced H.R. 3732, the Immigration Compliance Enforcement Act, legislation that would force the agency to comply with the law by shutting down any form of this illegal alien lobbyist. Specifically, the ICE Act would defund both the positions and prohibit the creation of any new position within ICE that would allow the agency to ignore the law and continue its pro-illegal immigration activities. It is of utmost importance that ICE be required to comply with the will of the American people as expressed through Congress. President Obama's flouting of the law cannot be allowed to continue, and this administration wants to maintain any credibility with Congress or the American people, they would stop flagrantly ignoring the laws of Congress that Congress writes and the President signs. Thank you for my time here today, and I yield back the balance of my time.